Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I'm here in Bangkok, Thailand at a park, and I will be talking about the HSK exam and ramble about my experience. Should you take it? Does it help with jobs? Because I have a lot of experience with all that stuff. And Jesus is hot. Yeah, so if you guys are new to this channel, subscribe. And we're a community of intermediate to advanced Chinese learners, and it's pretty cool to meet you guys and kind of meet other people that have the same passions as you do, right? So we have this channel, subscribe, get notifications. Plus, we have our email list that just a list of that we're gonna go back and forth in every week of people that are passionate about Chinese. So we share tips and different resources that we are learning from and whatnot. So stay in touch, sign up in the description, it's free, just a community. And yeah, today we're talking about the HSK exam. So I took the HSK exam twice. I took the HSK 3 and the HSK 6. So a little backstory. I took the HSK 3 in America, and I took the HSK 3 because I needed it for the Confucius Institute scholarship. So back a few years ago, I was working in America, and then I was getting bored. I'm like, let's quit my job and go to China and study my hobby for a year. Try to get to really immerse myself and get fluent in Chinese, right? I was probably HSK 4 to 5 at that point. And to apply for the Confucius Institute scholarship that I was doing, you needed to take the HSK 3. So I did that. So HSK 3, yeah, that was just not much to say about that, to be honest. I just had to do it to get the scholarship. I did the written test, which I had to cram. I am mostly self-learned as far as my Chinese, meaning I didn't really do any classes, so I never knew really how to write characters much. And the issue for me was that the HSK 3, I could of course 打字, right? But I cannot I cannot write. So I had to cram in for the month before that test, a few weeks before, learn all the top 600 words, right? That's what I believe the HSK 3 is 600 characters. Anyways, so I did that. I did well on the exam. Yeah, I actually got a pretty good score for the Confucius Institute scholarship. Yeah, so then I went to China, okay? And in China, I went and did the Confucius Institute scholarship. And at the end of the 1 year of intensive study, you have to do the HSK 5, HSK 6, which they pay for actually, which is great. And you can pick the HSK 5 or HSK 6. I chose the HSK 6. I'm like, let's just finish. Right? I set my goals high. I was probably at that level anyways, and it's kind of just setting my goal, right? I wanted to get to the highest level. I don't want to take it again, HSK 5 and then HSK 6. So I did the HSK 6. I did the online, not the online, sorry. There was no online. They're doing them online now since COVID, but the computer test, right? It's in-person computer test. And I did that after my 1 year of being in there. And I remember I got a 225 out of 300, which was like, okay. As far as, I didn't care all about, I would not have taken the HSK exam if the scholarship did not make me, and didn't really care about it. It was just kind of something I had to do for the scholarship. And a lot of people say like, oh, I passed the HSK exam, I did not pass. As far as I know, if some other people can correct me, I don't know if it's actually that. Everyone says it's 60%, right? So HSK 5, HSK 6, you need to get, 180 out of 300, right? That's the passing, which is 60%. Although I'm not really sure if that's just kind of made up. I don't know if really people that get 150, 140, does their certificate not have a stamp, or does it say failed? Because what I always thought was that there was no pass or fail, and that it's really just you get a number. You have a number attached to this thing, but I could be wrong because some other people seem to say different. I've heard different things. But if you guys know anyone that's gotten not passed the HSK exam, that'd be interesting to know. I think I might exist, but I don't know anyone that has, so I don't know what the certificate says. So I did that. it was, as far as the difficulty level in my preparation, I wasn't really preparing on HSK 6. That year, right, I was really focusing on improving my Chinese level to the max efficiency, which I think focusing on the HSK 6 material is not the most efficient way to learn Chinese. And that's one thing that a lot of people ask is, should I focus on the material, not for the test, but just to improve my Chinese ability? And I think no, for the most part. There are some good exercises in the HSK 6, in the all the HSK exams. But as far as using the vocabulary list, right, for the HSK 6, it's the top, it was around 5,000, I don't remember exact characters. Right, a lot of those characters are not common. Those characters are not the top 5,000 characters in Chinese, right? So you gotta, the better way to do it, right, is to build your vocab list through actually not the vocab list they give you, but actually your interaction with real Chinese in the real world, right? So watching TV programs, talking to people, building your vocab list that way is definitely a much better way. Especially, you know, as Chinese goes, they have a lot of shu mian hua, right? So the shu mian yu is, there's a lot of that in the vocab list for the HSK 6, which is not really used in real life, right? Especially Koyu. So that's one thing. But as far as the exam goes, it was definitely, I was appreciative that they do have the computer version, so you do not need to know how to write, which is awesome. I also would not have been able to do it because, which I shared in another video, I do not know how to, I don't write really at all. I don't spend time learning how to write. We have limited time, and I just don't think I think it's best to focus that on other aspects of my Chinese. So one of my favorite sections actually is the last section, HSK 6, which I think is a valuable exercise for anyone that's practicing Chinese. And what they do is they give you a few paragraphs, a little passage. You read it, then they take it away from you. And you have to use your own Chinese to summarize it. This technique is, which is something that I've discussed before, is quite a unique, it's quite an effective way to learn Chinese, especially when you're like, oh, I want to learn Chinese today, I don't really know what to do. Boom, you just read and regurgitate. I gotta learn my English, I guess. That's just a great way to do it, right? So you're practicing various aspects of your Chinese, and they do have that as the last part of the exam. That's cool. The listening part was quite difficult, to be honest. Even though I was in Chinese for a couple of years, parts of it were just quite formal. Same with me, even me now. I've been learning Chinese for 10 years. And, you know, the news, right? Watching the news. A few months ago, I did a pretty intensive month focusing on news, right? Just listening to the news. And it's quite difficult even now for me, right? Because of the formal language. And I spent a lot of time learning that kind of stuff. Even 10 months ago, whatever, when I was doing this focus on news, I would listen to a 20-minute news thing. It would take me many, many hours, multiple hours, right? Just focusing on every single sentence they said, every word. So yeah, that part was a little bit difficult. Okay. Other question a lot of people have. Is it helpful for finding a job? Should I get the HSK 6 or HSK exam to find a job? Let me make sure I'm still recording this. Okay, we're still recording. So as far as the job goes, I have a pretty strong take on this, that having the HSK exam, okay, first let's just talk about HSK 6, because that's the top, and if HSK 6 doesn't help you, then none of the other ones are going to help you, right? I have HSK 6, and I've applied to many, many jobs, and I've had many interviews, and a lot of experience with this, with jobs that they require you to speak Chinese. And currently, I have a job that I speak Chinese in my job, a mix of Chinese and English, but and let me tell you why I think it doesn't matter at all, the HSK 6. Typically, I never have seen a job that requires you HSK 6, first of all. They never say that. They'll say, because that's not what they want. They don't care about you having this. What they care about is your skill, your Chinese skill, right? So you can have the skill without the certificate or not. And the great thing is, unlike other skills that are hard to test maybe in a few minutes, if a Chinese company if you say fluent in Chinese company can test you within 2 minutes. 1 minute, they know your Chinese level, right? Just chatting with you. So if they see you say fluent in Chinese, they'll trust you and get to the interview. If you happen to be like, you don't speak Chinese, and they'll be like, okay, you know. But that's why in general, it doesn't really matter. As far as any other advantages of having the HSK exam, yeah, people like to brag about it and stuff, I guess. I don't really give a crap about that, but I don't know. I think it helps with some people as far as keeping concentrated on their goals. So it could have that, effect. Like, it's like levels in a game, which is kind of Chinese, right? Learning language is, it's like a video game. You're learning, and you build up skills, and you get to the next level. For me, I didn't need that incentive. I'm already just like my passion, and I'm already motivated, right? So, but it could be for some people. What else? As far as there are some advantages, some people say there's an advantage as far as this is a very specific situation, which is almost not even worth mentioning as far as, and it's not really applicable to most people, but like immigration in China. If you want to get a Chinese immigration, card or whatever, you can add. It's like a point system, and if you have HSK 6, I heard, not even sure it's true, you could add points to it. But that is not very applicable to most. The other thing that I want to say is HSK 6, right? I think some people think, I say HSK 6, they're like, wow, it's like they're so impressed, and it's like, I don't think it's that hard. Like, it's not hard enough. It should be harder, and I think that's part of the reason they're doing these. They're reforming the HSK exam, right? To make more levels and make higher levels as well. The new HSK 6 HSK exam is not gonna be the same, right? So HSK 6 before is not gonna be the same as HSK 6 after. So I'm a little worried how it's gonna mess with things. It's like you say, I have HSK. If some people, are gonna be thinking about the old HSKs and then there's the new HSK, what about the people that took it before? Because HSK 6 is different now. I don't know. I imagine it's gonna be easier, like now. And then they're going to add more levels. But the highest level in the HSK exam is going to be quite difficult, which is good. I think it needs to be more difficult because I got 225 in HSK 6, and I'm like, my Chinese I have a lot of room for improvement, to say the least. Like, I'm not on the pinnacle. I'm not on the top. And as we know, all of us know, learning Chinese, we never will be. But it didn't seem like I deserved to get the top recognition at that point. Although I spent a crap ton of time learning Chinese when I got to 2018, I got it. So I learned Chinese for 4 years, 5 years, 4.5 years probably, something like that, when I got to HSK 6. And I spent a lot of time every day doing that, learning. But yeah, I don't think it's, you say you get the HSK 6, it's just one test, a couple hours, limited scope of exactly how great your Chinese is, right? You can only test so much. And yeah, so if you're looking, if you're looking to do the Confucius Institute scholarship there, you're gonna have to do that, and I just wouldn't spend much time focused on the HSK material. I'd say a week, like 2 weeks before, right, I started to actually, I think my roommate had a book, maybe. I did some practice exams, that's what I did actually. Just curiosity, and that's what I think for most exams and stuff. Just do the practice test is one of the best ways to do a review, right? But other than that, really just focusing on throughout the year as you're doing the Confucius Institute scholarship, just focusing on your Chinese through other more effective methods that we talk about on this channel. Okay, that's about it, guys. That's my ramble on the HSK exams. And if you are passionate about Chinese, which I imagine if you got all the way to the end of this video, you are passionate about Chinese, then you could join our community, right? Subscribe, and join our email list, which is in the description, free. You'll get, you'll receive some of our emails randomly, and hopefully those are valuable. So see you guys later.